My name is Krupal Patel and I'm currently studying M-Arch Architecture at LJMU. My final project was a culinary interpretation centre and it was based in Vauxhall, and it came off of the first semester group urban design master plan where we decided to introduce a series of third places as a way to improve the area of Vauxhall. As a group, we sort of did site visits together, taking photographs at the initial stages, and then a lot of the work was done in the studio, drawing by hand, and then sort of developing that forward onto sort of our CAD drawings. Yes, we did do a group model together, and it was basically showing the whole of the site. So it showed the context, which was key because our site was an interstitial space between the Docklands and the Eldonian village. So we used a series of different materials to represent the different areas and introduce our new master plan using the model. The key things you learn are kind of right at the very beginning, and I still remember my first lecture with Dr. MacDonald and my first review, and all the things kind of that were pointed out to me then in the crits. They were things that I still remember to this day and that I still use, and they're kind of the underlying things that kind of help me to be successful at sort of what I do now. I think compared to other courses that I've seen, the M-Arch course is very well structured, and it flows very well also from the degree course. So it's a really nice continuation. The way in which we have interactions with tutors every week alongside lectures is also very helpful, because not only are our projects linked with the lectures that we have, but they also kind of are a broader aspect. We get to look at both the technology, environmental side, and also how we would do it in sort of management and practice and design. They're all kind of interrelated together, so they're not separate elements. So it's kind of an experience of how we may address projects in the future in the real world. I did my first year dissertation was on libraries and how they're changing in the current world, and one of the lectures that I attended was by Ryder Architects who have developed the library in Manchester, and I think that was very useful. It was having people from the real world come in and sort of share their experiences with you. You get to learn a lot in that way. Well, I'm currently sort of applying. I've been in contact with my previous employer because every summer I've been kind of going back and working for them. So I think I've been back about 5 times now since the first time, and hopefully, if they have work available, I'd like to go back there. And if not, I have some contacts which actually have been built from that employer. So they've recommended me to others, so that would be my next step to looking for work.
And which area of architecture do you want to go into such a broad area? Is there any specific type of architecture you'd like to focus on?
Well, so far I think I've mainly had experiences in sort of healthcare and education, but I think I'd like to do some residential. That would be interesting to work on some residential projects, and also some sports facilities, actually, because where I worked before, they also worked on the water polo stadium for the Olympics. So I think something like that would be very interesting. I would most definitely encourage them to come back to John Moores. I've had experiences at another university, which is deemed to be sort of higher up, but I think compared to John Moores, it just doesn't come close. The course here is very well sort of structured, and also every year it gets sort of tweaked, and so every year it kind of tends to improve because they always take feedback from the students at the end, and you always kind of see, because I've been back, I kind of see from the degree to the March, the feedback that I gave in the degree, it's kind of been implemented, and the feedback that my fellow students gave, you know, I can see that it's been kind of worked into the courses. So I think that's a really kind of special element about the course.
My name's Dion Barrett and I'm studying a Master of Architecture at John Moores University. Our final year project starts off with us going abroad. So this year we went to Marseilles. It doesn't matter what year you're in, if you're in third year, sixth year, you go away as a cohort and you sort of study an area. It's nice to sort of walk around with your lecturers really, taking the sites, and they're sort of pointing out things that you wouldn't necessarily do if you went to sort of a city on your own. So if you're in the degree, you just go around just to get a gauge of what nice architecture's like with somebody who knows what they're talking about. But if you're in the masters, the idea is that you develop a certain area, and you'll walk around an area and you'll be looking for things that you could sort of pick up on and change and alter within an urban context. And as a group of 3 or 4, you sort of develop this area, and then that's before Christmas. After Christmas, you then are asked to develop a specific site within that urban context. So my particular project is it's a bathhouse. It's based on the old Roman sequence of bathing, and that was a development of a group master plan within Marseille. The idea is that the bathhouse breaks down social barriers. There's a prescribed sequence that you go on when you go to any sort of Roman bathing, or if you were to go on a sort of Turkish baths, there's a sequence that you do, and when you go on this sort of sequence of events, the idea is that you create this sort of sense of, it's called communitas, and communitas is a concept that when a certain cohort of people do a set prescribed sequence, it breaks down social barriers. So the Roman bathing sequence was sort of a sequence of events that I looked at that would be able to aim to break down this sort of this social barrier. My site is actually in between a very affluent area and a very deprived one, so it was about creating that sense of communitas. There's some brand new developments. Marseille is actually on the waterfront, and it's getting developed as these big corporate blocks that are getting put up, very high spec, but overshadowing, well, what they are overshadowing is actually quite a deprived area, and you go around and if you don't have to go too much further before there's quite a lot of crime. So the actual types of people that would be living in these so close together, I felt that there needed to be a project that would somehow be able to get people from two sides of a sort of a social background and bring them together in one scheme. Within our group master plan, you sort of work at quite a large scale, so you're working at 1 to 10,000, so you know, sort of the house is sort of minuscule, and you sort of master plan the whole city, and then you just work through the scale. So you zoom in, you'll work at a specific area, and then you zoom in again, you look at a specific site. The first step that we took was building sort of a site model, and then I was able to sort of mass blocks, just looking at the vernacular, looking at what's around, and trying to sort of create something that fits in. Once you've created something, or that's one way approach of sort of working with form before function, you then try and interpret what these blocks might be. Fortunately for me, I had a very interesting site. It's in an old dry dock. So, I mean, there's dry docks in Liverpool that you can go and look at. Very interesting just to work with, and it gives us a sort of very interesting beginning before I even started, really. since I've been in Liverpool for, well, 6 years now, because I did my degree here. But the development down the docks it's changed it so much. Liverpool 1, that's just been, well, was being built when I came, that's completely regenerated the waterfront, and it's a really nice place to be now. So I enjoyed going down there. I took quite a lot of site photography, and just taking in sort of, there's bits with any dock, you get to see the old naval sort of aspects that you can just incorporate into little bits of your design. So yeah, working from Liverpool, but working in Liverpool when my site's in Marseille was actually more useful than you think. I did my placement in Leamington. I'm from Coventry, so Leamington's about 45 minutes away. My first year out, I actually didn't work. My second year, I did. So I had 2 years out between my third and fifth year. And I enjoyed that. I came back with more experience, and I'd say about half people did work experience, which was good. At the time, the economic sort of climate wasn't the best, so a lot of people did struggle to get work. But it was nice to come back with that experience, and it helped me in my masters. Yeah, I actually started applying for jobs in Easter, and I've actually been offered a job already. So that was good. I used my portfolio from my fifth year, and my fifth year work was, well, good enough to show them at the time, and they offered me a job if I pass, which I hopefully will, and I've signed a contract, so I should be working from June. They're based in the mailbox in Birmingham, which is near New Street Station. I'm from Coventry, it's just a train away, so I'll be commuting. But yeah, they were very keen to get on board people from Liverpool, John Moores, because they've actually had people that have gone to there from Liverpool before. They've been very impressed with sort of the quality that they bring to the practice. So they actually actively have started to advertise within Liverpool, John Moores for our students. The reason I would come to Liverpool to do the Masters of Architecture is, firstly, our facilities are really good, brand new facilities. It's also in an art and design academy, which means that you're not just mixing with architecture. The facilities that, say, the artist will get, the facilities that graphics design will get, we get to mix with that. There's a social aspect within all these creative sort of courses that lets you mix, and it's nice to be studying architecture, but being able to take influence from other creative backgrounds really helps when you're in this building, really.
I'm Emily Walkden. I'm studying Masters of Architecture at Liverpool John Moores University. We started off, we took a study trip to Marseille, and we started off doing an urban design project, group project. My group members were Ainsley and Jay, and we started looking at the infrastructure in Marseille. And we found it quite interesting the way the infrastructure kind of divided the urban realm around. And we took this area of land, it's full of modernist blocks, tower blocks, and we realised that it had been really divided from everywhere around. So we decided to take a different approach for the urban design and kind of give this area of land everything it needs, raise it up on a plinth, and create this kind of new estate, modernist estate, where they're bringing in residential, mixed-use areas, educational areas. And for our individual projects that we're working on at the moment, we each decided to take a different area of this that we found seemed to be missing from this area. There's cultural, infrastructure and governance. I decided to take governance, so the building I've been designing at the moment is a town hall, and it's kind of built on a series of a series of design generators that have brought it to how it is at the moment. So I've been looking at I started off with these series of blocks, and I was playing with my model and was kind of separating them into pavilions, and then I thought it's more interesting if I bring these blocks together. Each block has a different use, and they're kind of ordered in a series of hierarchy. So the highest block is a large chamber space, and that's the most important space. The other blocks are a ceremonial hall and a spiritual area and a members' quarters, and they each kind of level up due to the hierarchy. And there's other design generators in the scheme where it's kind of a clustered organisation. They overlap each other. There's these special spaces inside which overlap, and it's all about the ceremonial route through the building. So every time to drag you through the building, you've got these series of viewpoints out, and you end up going up through the building into the chamber space, which is kind of a multifunctional space which can be used by a few of the different blocks. And it also has a library within the walls. It's quite a brutalist building, and I've also taken influences from kind of surrealism. Like, it's got these towers, which each block has its own tower. They're all kind of along the same axis, but kind of one protrudes out, so it creates this kind of surrealist feeling. And it also creates an entrance point to this island that we've created, this kind of gateway, and you come up under this block which kind of overhangs the entrance point, making you feel a little bit uneasy as you come into the building. So I'm working on a series of drawings at the moment. I'm looking at kind of presenting through axonometric drawings, pulling away the building frame so you can see inside, so you can see the route through, a series of elevations to show this kind of brutalist style, and just ways I've tried to show kind of these design generators that have enabled me to come up with this building that I've got. I've really enjoyed the march. It's quite tough. You have a lot of things to do, but it's kind of a range of different things to do. So in 5th year we had a few design projects and a few group projects, which is quite good because it's quite good for setting you up in practice, the group projects, being able to work with other members. And we also had a project with the School of Built Environment, so it was quite interesting working with quantity surveyors and other subjects. But it's also a mixture of a lot of written assignments as well. But I've really enjoyed it, and especially this year we've had a lot longer to spend on our CDP, which is our final project, and just having a lot longer to spend on this project to develop a really interesting concept and brief behind the building, and hopefully create something that is quite amazing at the end. I was working in a practice in Liverpool called Fortnum Chester Hall. It was quite interesting. I was on a range of projects. They do a lot of commercial and student accommodation, and some of the projects are actually being built at the moment, so it's amazing to see the stuff that I've helped out with actually being built. But yeah, I really enjoyed it and I learned a lot from them, and it's definitely helped since coming back. That experience I think has been vital to now coming back to university and then bringing it all together. I really enjoyed it here. It's got great facilities, and looking at the way the course is organised as well. 5th year was it was quite an organised way the tutors kind of presented our work. We had set deadlines for everything, and this year has more been you kind of meet your own deadlines in a way, so it's quite good for like training the way you work. And it's we've had a mixture of group projects and individual projects. When I looked around in Liverpool University, they just do all group work, and I thought I kind of want to work on some of my own things as well. So it's a bit of a nice mixture here.